What's up, YouTube? It's Master Kane coming at you again with another deck profile. These ones being my Elemental Heroes. They are not quite finished yet, but there are a few cards I'm actually looking for and trying to get. But there have been a few people on here actually asking for Elemental Heroes. So I might as well show what I got so far. Anyway, and this deck actually works fairly well for what I have. So to start off, I run one copy of Elemental Hero Blade Edge. He's pretty big attack, 2600 attack, 18 defense, and if he inflicts, if he decks a defense position monster, I inflict piercing. Then I have one Elemental Hero Neos. He's a normal monster, 2500 attack. You can't really do much about him because he's a normal. He has no effect you can do anything with. Then I run an Elemental Hero Neos Alias. He's a Union. He's Gemini. He's treated as Elemental Hero Neos while on the field, and that can be rather useful if I have a spell or something that requires Neos. Then I run two copies of Elemental Hero Avion. He's a pretty easy one to get on the field. He's got a trap card that revolves around him, and just overall, he's a pretty nice one to have. He might not be extremely powerful, but he is a nice support for this deck. Then I run Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. When she is special summoned, I can add one change quick play spell card from my deck to my hand. So, she's in the graveyard, I special summon her, so that I can get a change quick play spell card. Then I run three copies of Elemental Hero Wild Heart. He's nice because if you can power him up, which is really easy in this deck, he is completely immune to trap effects. You cannot destroy him with Mirror Force, you cannot target him with Magic Cylinder, you cannot target him with any sort of trap card. Which is nice if you power him up and attack and the opponent can't do anything about it. It's pretty nice to have. Then I have one Elemental Hero Heat. This card gains 200 attack for each Elemental Hero I control, and it counts as him. So he'd gain, he'd be 1800, and if I have four others, he'd gain, 200 for each. But, yeah. Then now here's his girlfriend, Elemental Hero Lady Heat. Similar effect, but instead of gaining 200 attack for every Elemental Hero monster I control, she inflicts 200 points of damage to my opponent for every Elemental Hero monster I control. Then I run Elemental Hero Clayman. He's a pretty solid defense. He's used for a tribute in this, a fusion in this deck, so. Then, his buddy, Elemental Hero Bubble Man. This card is the only card in my hand I can special summon from my hand. But when I special summon, I can draw two cards. But I must control other cards and have no cards in my hand to activate this effect. So, he's the only thing in my hand. Special summon, draw two cards, etc., etc. But I have to have nothing else in my hand for this to work. Now, this is one of the ones I'm looking for another one of. Elemental Hero Ocean. Now, a second one of these would really help. Because once per turn during my standby phase, I can target one hero monster I control or that's in my graveyard and add to my hand. So I can use it to recycle my, like Blade Edge, Neos, etc., or lead into other combos to reuse my other Elemental Heroes. And if I have two of these and I have one in the graveyard, I summon one, I add the other one to my hand, then even if they destroy this guy, I can just keep continuing on the cycle. A third one might be a vast set too, but we'll just see what happens. Elemental Hero Voltic. A second one of these might be good, but when this card inflicts battle damage to my opponent, I can target one of my banished Elemental Hero monsters and special summon it. This one's a really nice one. Elemental Hero Necro Shade. Well, this card is in my graveyard. One level 5 or higher elemental hero monster I summon can be summoned without tributing. Then I have one elemental hero woodsman. Once per turn during my stamina phase, I can add one polymerization from my deck or graveyard to my hand. Great for helping with fusion summoning. Then I've got one elemental hero Sparkman. Again, he's another normal monster, 1600 attack. You know, he's pretty basic, but he does have fusion in this deck. Then I run one elemental hero Burstinatrix. Again, she's another normal monster. Beat stick in this deck, can be powered up. Yeah, she's just support for this deck, and she's also got a fusion she works with. Then I run one Neo-Spacian Grand Mole. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, I can return the opponent's monster and this card to the hand. So if my opponent has a really powerful monster that can't be destroyed, I can just attack it, return both cards to their hand, and I return Neo-Space in my hand. And especially if it was a really hard monster for the opponent to summon, I can return to the hand. Then I have one Homunculus the Alchemic Being. He's good because a lot of these elemental hero fusions require one elemental hero monster and one of a certain attribute, and his effect can become any attribute I desire. Then some of the beat stick spells in this deck. Mass Change. 2 of them. I can target one hero monster I control and send it to the graveyard, then special summon one masked hero monster from my extra deck with the same attribute. Very good for getting out my masked heroes. Then I have 2 Mass Change 2. It's similar, but I can discard one card and then target one monster I control has a level and send it to the graveyard. Also, after that, if this card is on the field, I can special summon from my extra deck one masked hero monster with the same attribute but a higher level. So it can't be like the same level. So if I use it on a level 6 elemental hero monster, I can't get a level 6 masked hero. I have to get at least a level 7. Then I have one Mask Charge. I can target one hero monster and one change quick play spell card in my graveyard and add it to my hand. Very good for getting, like let's say I have Voltic in my graveyard and I have Mass Change. I'd be like, get Voltic, Mass Change, summon Voltic, activate Mass Change, summon Koga right then and there. Then I run one Polymerization. There's really no need to run more than one because of Woodsman. He can obtain it wherever I may have it. But anyway, common fusion spell. Then here's one card I'm looking for another one of. Heated Heart. I can target one monster I control, increase its attack by 500, and give it piercing damage for that turn. Then another one I'm looking for a second one of. Oversoul. I can target one elemental hero normal monster in my graveyard and special summon it. And I have quite a few normal monsters, so I could use that for fusion summoning, I could use it for mass hero summoning, I could use it for quite a bit. Then I run 2 Righteous Justice. I can destroy spell and trap cards equal to the number of elemental hero monsters I control. So 1, I can destroy 1, 2, etc., etc. And then I run 2 Emergency Call. I can add one elemental hero monster from my deck to my hand. So anybody I want, I can add to my hand. One, the A Forces. All warrior type monsters I control gain 200 attack for each warrior or spellcaster monster I control. So if my field is full, I can essentially have all my monsters gain 1000 attack. Potentially. One, Reinforcement of the Army. I can add one level 4 or lower warrior type monster from my deck to my hand. Pretty self-explanatory. Then I run one Parallel World Fusion. I can, like, if my opponent tries to banish my monsters, I can shuffle 2 banished monsters, or as many as are required in the fusion materials. I can shuffle the banished materials from my banished and special summon a fusion monster with my banished monsters by shuffling back on the deck. Then I have one Miracle Fusion. I can fusion summon one Elemental Hero fusion monster from my extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from my side of the field or my graveyard. Then I have one Fusion Weapon. This card can only be equipped to a fusion monster of level 6 or less. Increase the attack and defense of the equipped monster by 1500. Magnum Shield. Equipped to a warrior type monster and apply these effects depending on its battle position. If it's in attack position, its attack gets increased equal to its original defense. And defense, its defense gains attack equal to its original attack. Then the warrior returning alive, I can target one warrior type monster in my graveyard and add to my hand. Then I run, for the last of the spells, 2 Hero Mask. I can select one face-up monster I control, send one Elemental Hero monster from my deck to my graveyard, and then treat the selected monster's name as the name of the sent monster until the end phase. So I could have someone like Burstinatrix on the field, but send someone like Elemental Hero Heat or Avion or whatever, and have that monster be treated as it. Now for the trap cards, one Elemental Hero Recharge. I can increase my life points by 1,000 points for each face-up monster on my side of the field that includes Elemental Hero in its card name. Then I have one Featherwind. If I can only activate this card if a face-up Elemental Hero Avion is on my side of the field. I can negate the activation of a spell or trap card and destroy it. Then I have Hero Blast. I can target one Elemental Hero normal monster in my graveyard, add it to my hand, and then if the opponent controls any monster with attack less than or equal to the attack target of the selected monster, I can destroy one of them. Then I run one Hero Signal. When a monster I control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, I can special summon one level 4 or lower Elemental Hero monster from my hand or deck. Then I run one Call of the Haunted. Pretty self-explanatory. I can use it to bring back any monster in my graveyard, but if this trap is destroyed, it's destroyed, and if it's destroyed, this trap is destroyed too. Pretty self-explanatory. Then I run for last traps, one Bottomless Trap Hole. My opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack. I can destroy that monster with 1500 more attack. And if I do, I banish it. And now for the extra deck, I don't always get to use both of these, but 2 Contrast Hero Chaos. He's 3000 attack, 2600 defense. He requires 2 masked heroes to summon. I have been able to summon both of them, but not very often. I mostly run 2 in case I summon it, then it gets destroyed, negated or something. But he's always treated as Elemental Hero. And he must be fusion summoned and cannot push summoned anyway. He's a dark attribute, as you can all see, but he's also treated as light attribute. Once per turn, during either player's turn, I can target one face-up card on the field and negate it until the end of this turn. Then I run 2 Masked Hero Darklaw. He can be a real pain to decks like Light Sworn, things like that. Or any decks that constantly send to their graveyard, like zombies, and such and such. Any card that is sent to the graveyard is banished. And once per turn, if they draw a card that's not Any card to the opponent's graveyard is banished instead. Once per turn, if my opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, except by drawing it, I can banish one random card from the opponent's hand. Sorry, I had like a lost train of thought for a second there, but that's Darklaw. Then I have Masked Hero Divine Wind. Cannot be destroyed by battle. And if my opponent can only attack one monster during each battle phase. When this card destroys the opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, I can draw one card. Then I run 2 copies of Masked Hero Koga. He's fairly powerful. He gains 500 attack for every monster my opponent controls. Then I run 2 copies of Elemental Hero Great Tornado. When he is summoned, I have the attack and defense of all face-up monsters my opponent currently controls. He requires 1 Elemental Hero and 1 Wind monster. One Elemental Hero Mudball Man. He's pretty basic. He must be fusion summoned. He's got 1900 attack, 3000 defense. He's a fusion of Bubble Man and Clay Man. Then I have Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. He uses Avion and Burstinatrix. And this card destroys the opponent's monster and sends it to the graveyard. I inflict damage to my opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster sent to the graveyard. Then I run 1 Elemental Hero Thunder Giant. He requires Sparkman and Clayman. This monster cannot be special summoned except by fusion. And by discarding 1 card from my hand, I select and destroy 1 face-up monster on the field with an original attack that is less than the attack of this card. So anyone under the attack of this card. So if I boost him up, he's basically a 24 to start with. Then I can only use this effect once per turn during my main phase. Anyway, that was my Elemental Hero deck profile. Comment, subscribe to this video. Just comment, tell me what y'all thought, and if there are any specific cards you think that might assist this deck in any way. But that was my Elemental Hero deck. Some people have been asking for an Elemental Hero deck, so I figured I'd go ahead and post what I currently had. So, comment to this video, subscribe, like this video, and tell me what you thought and what I could do to improve this deck. Well, Master Kane, out.